Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. I wanted to jump on here and do like a fresh springtime get ready with me. So I'm gonna go have lunch with a girlfriend, and aside from being obviously super excited to do that, her birthday's coming up, and so we're just gonna be doing like some fun like hanging out moment. You know, we haven't seen each other in a little bit, but the weather in Georgia is like, it's a beautiful spring day, but it is so cold today, which is why I'm wearing a sweater and not something like more cute and girly. So I just put on a peptide smoothing serum on my skin as some skincare before my face was completely clean. I didn't have anything on it, but I'm so excited to be doing this video today. I have some new products to test out. I have the Kylie Skin Concealer in the shade Ivory. I haven't even opened this. I just don't even know why. I ordered it from Ulta, so for some reason Kylie Cosmetics was on sale. If anyone knows what's going on with it, I think maybe they're, I don't know, maybe they're going out of business. This looks like an okay color. Looks lighter in the tube, I think, than it does in the packaging, but we're just gonna jump into it. I'm also gonna go ahead and put my SPF on. This is by the brand Your. This is their day cream, which has, it's like a moisturizer and an SPF, and I pretty much use this every day before I leave the house, because number one, I need a good moisturizer, and number two, SPF is super important, especially now that we're getting into those summer months and spring. You don't want to, especially on a sunny day, you don't want to leave the house without any SPF. We have got some blemishes to cover up today. I don't know what's going on with my skin. I'm so over it, but it's fine. We're dealing. So I'm gonna just go in and prep my skin for some foundation. Today, even though I'm gonna be going out and wearing a mask, I still want to wear something lightweight, and I think this is a perfect product for the spring and summer. This is the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream. I absolutely love this. So I'm just gonna do a little bit on my forehead now, because I want to do like forehead, brows, face, which is how I used to do my makeup, and I kind of stopped doing it that way. I'm also going to be using the iMagic sponge. This was sent to me and I really like this sponge. I have a whole video on some of their products. I will link that video up here. But like, I like this product because the e.l.f. CC cream, because as you can see, like I have a lot of redness and this really evened it out. And so even though it is a CC cream with like some really great skin loving ingredients, I also find that it still looks really healthy on the skin and still has a lot of full coverage. We love her. I actually bought 2 backups of this recently, so when I tell you guys I'm like ride or die for a product, I mean it. So now I'm gonna go with this Kylie Skin Concealer. Like I said, I have mine in the shade Ivory, and I'm gonna use it to, see, this actually matches my skin more than anything else, but that's fine. I'm gonna use it, has a paint smell, which honestly for something a little bit more high-end like Kylie, why, you know? That has some really good coverage. I feel like it covered up that spot on my forehead really easily. Another new product, so I had some new complexion stuff. So this is from Beauty Bakery. I bought 2 of these when they were on sale during the Ulta like 21 days of beauty sale. So this is the Better Not Bitter flower powder. I love like their packaging. It's really cute and gimmicky. I'm sure in stores it came like this. It looks like this, but mine was packaged away, so it came like this, which kind of takes away the illusion a little bit, but honestly fine. So I have mine in the shade Oat, which is like their translucent shade, but I've heard so many people rave about this powder, so I'm really excited to try it. This is what the sifter situation on this looks like. I'm just going to take my Tati Beauty Blendaful and some of this powder. Some of it already came out, and I'm just going to use this on my forehead. So what's nice about this container is that you can like twist it and seal the holes. But I never do that with my powders because I always end up just dumping it into the lid anyway. But basically I'm just going to set my forehead. So I'm going to be using an oldie but a goodie for my face primer today. So this is the One Heck of a Blot Primer from Soap and Galore. So I like this primer because it's pretty pore filling, but it doesn't have a super silicone-y consistency. I actually was thinking about using this all over my face, and I'll probably just use some concealer here, but I used a patch with salicylic acid, and for some reason I have the little circle of the patch, which sucks. That's never happened, and I literally had them all over my face. So I'm going to go ahead and go in with this foundation now slash CC cream. And any spots where I have a lot of redness, I'm just going to cover them up with that Kylie Beauty Concealer, or Kylie Cosmetics Concealer. But look, I have so much redness right here, and it just covers it right up. Okay, so you can see how much I love this CC cream, but now, normally I skip this step because I use products that are full coverage enough, and I also normally don't have breakouts like this. So in any areas where I still see those breakouts coming through, I'm going to go in with this Kylie Cosmetics concealer. I like this concealer, I just don't think it's light enough for me to really highlight with on the under eye. I'm going to use it for the video's sake today, and also because I do see that it is really full coverage and I seem to really like enjoy this consistency so far. But I will say that I do think that this is not light enough for me. It has this kind of peachy tone, as you can kind of see there, but it was also kind of hard. It is hard to pick concealers and foundations and stuff on the website, so take it with a grain of salt. It happens. But yeah, the longer it sits on my skin, you can kind of see it oxidizing a little bit. You can see right here it's kind of getting more peachy, and here it's getting lighter. But you can always, like, Ulta has a really great return policy, so if you purchase from them, you can return. But I just kind of wanted to, like, let that be known. It's totally a thing. So I've been loving going in with this product in particular. So this is a cream bronzer. This is the matte stick bronzer from Milk Makeup. This one's in the shade Baked. And I take it with a small foundation brush. This one is from the Nazanin Kavari brush kit that she came out with BH Cosmetics. You guys, it's so good. It's a really nice color. That was a lot of product and it's really intense, but it also blends out really, really nicely. I just really like applying it as a base layer because I find that when I go in with this product, I just use less of my powder bronzer. So I'm gonna take out some more powder. This is a really finely milled powder, you guys, so that's good to know. And I always prep my powder first and put it on my sponge before I blend out my concealer. I'm also going to be going in with the e.l.f. Putty Blush as soon as my concealer is blended out with the same brush that I was using with my bronzer. I just think it works that way and it's convenient. So I will say that once the concealer blends out, it actually looks really good even under the under eye. Like, despite that it's not like the lighter shade that I kind of wanted, it still works really nicely. So I wanted to mention that when I'm using this e.l.f. Putty Blush, by the way, I have mine in the shade Tahiti, I believe. Yeah, Tahiti. I make sure to blend out my concealer or whatever, and then I go in with the product, and then I will blend out my concealer once more just to make sure that it's not, just to make sure that that way the blush isn't like overboard. If I want to fix something, I can. Part of the reason I really like going in with this cream blush is because I find that I love the way that it looks underneath my products. Again, I use less powders, and this actually gets so much more subtle when I set it with powder. Also, I really like it because if I want to do that like high blush cheek moment over here, normally I struggle to do that with my powder blush, but it's a lot easier to do it at this step with this blush. So like I said, you can kind of see some lines and some kind of unblended mess here, and like definitely creasing under the under eyes. So then I go back in and I blend my under eyes. I make sure to set the areas where I crease the most first, because like the last thing I want to do is have extra creasing. We don't need that. On days that I'm feeling really natural, I will go in with just the blush and the bronzer by themselves. I probably will like use very little concealer under the under eye or something. When I want something a little bit more full glam and I want my makeup to last a little bit longer, I will go in with powders over top and like really set everything. So this is a little bit concerning with this powder. I wanted to just point it out. You see how it kind of like sticks to those areas, so that was a little worrisome actually, but you know what, it blended out really nicely, so I am no longer concerned. You just kind of have to like, on areas that you kind of like bake with this powder, you're gonna want to blend it out a little bit more and like make sure to really disperse that product, because the last thing you want is like anything like super powdery or patchy. I'm gonna use my Jaclyn Hill bronzing situation. So this is her blush and bronzer. The blush that I have is in the shade Golden Goddess, and the bronzer is in the shade Warm Flush. I've talked about these in my most recent makeup video, but I really like them. Her like bronzer is incredibly high quality. It's so nice. By the way, I'm using a nice and small brush to do this because I feel like I already have enough product on my face, and I don't really have a super large forehead, and so I didn't want to use a too big of a brush and like overly bronze my forehead when it just is not that big. So I use this powder to bronze my lower lip, but for my nose I'm going to use the Maybelline City Bronzer just because it's a more cool tone color, and I'm going to use this to contour my nose. I feel like using this cream bronzer was really helped my skin to not look overly like powdery, and also to make sure that I don't go overboard on the bronzer because I tend to do that. Like, I've definitely gotten comments about it. Actually, I do feel like this looks more blushy than bronzer, so I'm gonna go a little bit more. I think that's just part of my problem though, is that I'm pretty heavy-handed, so I think having a lighter hand is always really helpful, and this seems to be kind of a great way for me to do that. So I'm gonna go with this blush now. I really love this blush too, you guys. Honestly, Jacqueline's complexion products are really nice. She did a really great job with the formula. I'm gonna put a little bit of blush on my nose just because it's like that springtime vibe and like we want to look all dewy and beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and pop some chapstick on. This is actually not chapstick. This is the e.l.f. Ride or Die Lip Balm. This one's in the mint flavor or like scent. It's so cold in my house that like I'm having trouble getting it out of the tube. So that's the thing with these, is they're totally dependent on temperature. So if you're in a really cold climate, it'll be more like tough to get out, or if you keep it in a nice refrigerated climate. But one day I took these with me while I was at the pool, and you guys, just getting it out was this hot mess because it was everywhere. So totally keep that in mind, just FYI. But at this step, I'm gonna just take a moment to spritz my face, kind of set everything down, all the powders that I have, because anything that I go from here is gonna be like a highlighted vibe. And now I have the base of my complexion done, so I'm gonna spray my face. This is the NYX Bear With Me setting spray. This is a primer set refresh. I love sprays like this just because like you can use them throughout any step in your routine and they're just really helpful. I'm almost finished with this, as you can see. So I want to make sure that my skin is nice and set, but also I want to make sure that it doesn't look powdery. And honestly, I think my skin looks really good despite the breakouts, despite everything. I have to say, just so far, I really, really like this powder. It looks nice. It doesn't look overly cakey or drying on the skin, and it looks really, really nice on my under eye, which is super important to me. I think part of that too is the Kylie concealer, number one, because it covered up all of my imperfections really nicely. The only one that like you can still see a lot is this one right here, but it's kind of in a space where like the discoloration kind of like the redness kind of matches the tones that I put in that area of my skin. Plus I think just going in with the brush, like obviously because it's raised, the brush hit that part a little bit more, but I'm not really concerned about it. But it covered up the breakouts and like scarring that I had on my chin, so that's nice. So far I'm a fan of those two products. I really think that it's awesome that Ulta does their like 21 days of beauty. During that time I was gonna get the Tarte Shape Tape Creamy Concealer, but I totally dropped the ball because that actually came out on my husband's birthday, and so I completely forgot to get it. So that was my bad. I really want to test that out, but I was not gonna pay $27 for a concealer when I have like a drawer full of concealers right now that I need to go through. So I'm using the Jaclyn Hill JH09 brush and my Wet n Wild highlighter powder. So this is an oldie but a goodie again. I love this product. I think it was limited edition. This is another high-end highlighter. This is the Anastasia Amrezy collab highlighter, and you think that I wouldn't love this. Like if you look at it, you're probably like, oh, she didn't like that. But no, I love it so much that I don't use it all that often, and I would pretty much only use it on like special occasions. But I'm getting to the point where I'm realizing that like life is a special occasion. Just being alive, being here, breathing, being able to enjoy the fresh air and your favorite product is a special occasion. So I'm gonna start using this a lot more just because I really do love it. Like I started to like realize over here I was kind of like using a lot of product, and I was like, oh my god, maybe I need to slow down. But like, no girl, we don't do that. I'm also going to use this and pop it on my inner corners just to highlight that area already, because I know I'm going to eventually and might as well do it while I'm already at this step. Okay guys, so I've already primed my eyes, did my brows, got my face together. So I'm going to jump in with the So Jaded palette. Honestly, this sweater's great, my scrunchie's gray, but everything is giving me like this soft purple vibe. And because it's spring, I wanted to do something that was spring inspired, even though it's kind of like still chilly out. This palette is gorgeous, and honestly I wanted to use it for this purple shade right here and kind of like blow it out all over the eye and kind of use some of these more purpley shades. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm literally just going to start out with the transition shade right here. This is in the shade Rose Quartz. This was a limited edition palette. Also, let's talk about how this shade is the shade on my eye. Like, look how much darker that looks. I just want to point out that Colourpop Cosmetics eyeshadows are sometimes do that in my experience, and they are also really, really like really well formulated and intense and beautiful, but you just want to keep an eye out for that. I want to use this palette more during the springtime, this like spring season 2, because like look at these colors, like these are immaculate. This is one of my favorite palettes in my collection, but it's like such unique colors that I don't use it that often. So next up I'm going to use a little bit more of a dense brush, and I'm going to go with the shade Amtrine. Oh my god, these names, y'all, every time. But it's this shade right here. It's a little bit deeper, so I'm going to pop it on the outer corner and see how I feel about it. It does have these like tiny little loose glitters in it, by the way. I wanted to mention that. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually going to keep this color on the outer part of my eye because it is a little bit more intense. And even though this look is nice and blown out, I don't want the look to be super dark, and it's already getting there, you know? Only use a little bit and only put it on the like outer part of my eye and then just kind of blow it out. And then if you guys follow me, you know that I'm a huge believer in going back in with your previous brush. It just makes your looks come out so much nicer and just makes everything look so much more blended. So even if you're not picking up extra product on that previous brush, you want to make sure you're going back in and blending with it. So then she has another purpley shade in this palette, and it's, oh, I just dug my finger into the screen, but it's a little bit of a weird shade. It's called Fluorite. So it looks kind of grayish purple, but it's this one right here. So I'm just going to take that, just like a flat brush. I'm going to spray my brush just because that's kind of what I feel like doing today. I didn't spray it too close because I don't want a bunch of product to be like super damp. And I'm going to put this on the inner part of my eye. You know, I'm going to use my finger, and then I'll just use the brush for more precise work if I need to. This is a like duochrome iridescent shade, by the way. So it has like these tiny flicks of like kind of green, kind of silver, kind of blue, but it's definitely still purple. It's kind of strange. So I'm going to go in with the shade Diamond, which is this super light shade right here. It's like her highlight shade. It's, if you're familiar with the Colourpop, oh, I forgot what they're called. They're Super Stock Shadows. This is totally that formula. And I'm actually going over top the highlighter that I already had just because this formula is a little bit more iridescent and it's just, it's really beautiful. I don't know what I'm going to do for the lower lash line yet, so I'm just going to leave it alone until I decide. But I'm going to use this Suva Beauty Hydra Fix eye paint kind of thing. It's an eyeliner that's water activated. This one's in the shade Luster Lilac. I just realized this said it was a chrome shade. I bought this so long ago and never realized it said chrome. This is literally my first time opening it. So this is not what I was expecting. I was expecting this to be matte almost. But I still think I want to go ahead and do some eyeliner with this. So the way that you use these is that you take, they're water activated, so you have to use water to obviously put them on. But what I'm going to do is take some of this, and I'm going to use my setting spray instead and just spray some onto my brush and then apply it on the lid. From what I've heard, you just want to apply it and then like put it on the cap to kind of like, you know, so like I literally sprayed my brush and covered that surface area. Okay guys, I wanted to mention that despite the fact that I thought this was matte and it's not, it still kind of looks matte. Doesn't really look super shimmery or anything. By the way, I bought this at the Morphe store, so I know this brand has its own website, but you can get these both at the Morphe store, like in person, or online at Morphe if you're placing an order with Morphe. I think that looks really good. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye and then I'll be right back. By the way, I wanted to mention that the brush that I'm using is by Royal & Langnickel, and it is literally a painter's brush, which has a super long tip. This is what the brush looks like. It's my go-to like pot eyeliner kind of brush. Just FYI, super random, but it's always the one I've used. So I'm actually not going to use this for the lower lash line, or maybe I am. Oh, I keep going back and forth on whether I'm going to or not. Actually, I'm going to take some of the darker purple and just like lightly run it under my lower lash line just to keep things really basic, because the last thing I want is to make this look any darker. So now I'm going to go ahead and pop on some lashes and mascara. I wanted to mention that I'm still using and still really loving the Sky High mascara, especially for the lower lash line. It's really good for that. Like, I still like it for my top lashes, but mostly for my lower lashes. So I wanted to pop on and show you guys what this look looks like with just mascara. I love to do this just because not everyone likes lashes, and I think actually with a look like this, mascara by itself does look really good. So also I want to tell you guys that this is just like 1.5-ish coats of this mascara. But now I'm going to go ahead and pop on some lashes. Okay guys, so my lashes are drying, and now I'm going to jump in with my e.l.f. Retro Paradise lip liner. This one's in the shade Nude number 1. They had like 3 different numbers in this kit, so this is the lightest one. And I just wanted something nice and soft pink. Normally I would like something a little bit more... I totally lost the cap to this. What just happened? But this is kind of like a Lear Lips but better kind of color. Oh, here it is. And normally I would go in with a beautiful lip gloss moment. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do that and then I'll just take it off when I go out. But this is the So Juicy lip gloss. This one's in the shade She's Here. This is another Colourpop moment, by the way. Colourpop's So Juicy glosses are probably some of the best glosses at Ulta. Like, hands down. They're so good. I love their packaging. This is just classic and easy. Now I'm gonna pop in my lashes and be back. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. I really like this. I didn't know where it was going at the beginning. I just knew I wanted to do purple, and honestly I think that what made this look was this. This is my first time using it. And like I said, it says it's a like metallic shade, and it totally looks metallic in the pot, but when you put it on your eyes it's not metallic. It's just not that metallic. It looks more matte for sure. It has like maybe a little bit of a sheen, but it dries matte, so it's really, really nice. And other than that, like I loved the Kylie concealer. I was like, it was good. It covered up any blemishes I had. It looks nice under the eyes. The Beauty Bakery powder, 10 out of 10 for sure. I love it already. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this look. Definitely stay tuned for more spring content, because that's all I want to do is like all the spring vibes for sure. And yeah guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you all in my next one. Bye loves.